My name is Bill Odell, and I'm in charge of marketing at Aerospike. I was here a year ago at the same event, but I had not yet joined the company, and I'm excited to be here today. So first of all, we have people that have traveled from across the world to be here today. We are a global company. And so it's really nice to know that we have people that would take the time to come here and participate in this event with all of us. We also have people who come from a variety of different functions. So whether it's a C-level person or an engineer or a DevOps person or an architect, we have quite a wide variety of people who have a different perspective on IT and on database management systems. And then we also have people from a variety of different verticals and different use cases here. And the point of this slide is to say, this event is for you. It's not for Aerospike, it's for you. You have a tremendous quality, diversity, breadth, and depth of people here represented for you to engage with, to talk to seek out, and to learn. We do this event so that you can learn from each other. In fact, this morning will be all that you'll hear, this afternoon you'll hear from Aerospike. The rest is all going to be customers or some partners. So welcome, get to know each other. We have a phenomenal lineup of presenters. I'm just astonished at people who have taken the time to build the content, to work with us on what their remarks are. We've got a great set of sessions. I won't go through all of these today, but you have people that are C-levels. You have people that are going to talk about use cases. You have people that are going to talk about technical things and how to develop things and how to architect things around Aerospike, of course. So whatever it is that you're interested in here, we have a great cross-section of people and content here for you to take advantage of. Pick what you like, see it. If you don't get to a session, we will have it recorded. It will be up on our website like last year, and you're free to get it after the event. So we do like to get your feedback. This is really important to us for a couple of reasons. It allows us to plan for next year and do a better job than we did this year. There's also some ways to give us feedback just in general as a company, and we like to get that as well. So let me walk you through that. First of all, that URL that's up on the screen there, if you put that in your mobile phone browser, it will take you to an app where you can actually see the agenda. So you can either pull that out of your badge, or you can just have it on your phone, and you can scroll through and pick whatever session you want. But when you click on one, you'll see a screen pop up that will actually allow you to give us some feedback. So there'll be a little URL there, and if you click on that after the session, it'll pop up a screen. You can either give us your name, or you can do it anonymously and give us feedback on each session. I would really enjoy it if you did that, because that allows us to understand what session content was valuable, what session content was not so valuable. I think also with respect to the people who created the content, mostly not Aerospike employees, it gives us a way to give them some feedback too. I remember last year people, how did I do? What did people think? It's hard to do that if we just try to remember conversations. It's easier if we get a simple feedback from you all. So please take the time. There we go. I also want to take a moment to thank the sponsors for this event. You see the names up here. Every one of these we work with closely. A lot of these we have done development work with to make sure that our database works well with their products. Please, they have tables out there. They'll be there the entire event. Please take the time to stop by and say hi, learn what they have, ask questions about. They are all high-quality partners of ours, and they've also been very generous to help underwrite the cost of the event. So thank you to the sponsors. Please stop by. Okay, if anybody would like to meet one-on-one with somebody else that's here and they would like to have a private meeting room, we have two. That's where they're located, just out the door here and to the left on the way to the restrooms. If you'd like to do that and actually schedule something, you can go to the registration desk and it'll make sure there's a room available for you. If not, you can just obviously meet with people during the networking events. So please, if you'd like to have a one-on-one, you're welcome to do that. Okay, a couple of other things. You'll notice we do have the Wi-Fi access codes up there if you haven't found it already. That might be helpful if you want to give us some survey feedback. We probably should have put that on an earlier slide. Sorry about that. But please, feel free to use the free Wi-Fi.
There's a couple of other ways we'd like to get some feedback from you. There's a table right out there from a company called G2 Crowd. Anybody here who knows who G2 Crowd is? They're kind of like Yelp for IT vendors. So if you go out there and there's somebody will help you and you just answer a very quick survey, it will put out a rating on Aerospike in our category of products, and that's super helpful. It means anybody that's out there that's looking for a database will get some comments from all of you about how we stack up relative to our competitors, and it's very much like Yelp. You can rate us however you would like to rate us. We would enjoy you doing that and be honest about it. If you do so, we're going to donate $10 to the Wildfire Relief Fund, which will go to help the victims and those affected by last year's California wildfires. So if you ever saw the news last year, that was pretty devastating for people just north of here. You also can get a $10 gift card for Starbucks. Lastly, when you leave the session, there we go. I'm not advancing as fast as I could. That's probably why somebody's whispering at me. You can give a survey, quick survey and an iPad at the registration desk on your way out, and we'll give you a T-shirt. They're way cool, Aerospike T-shirt. So if you find that out, that just gives us overall feedback at the end of the event. So 3 ways: session, feedback, G2 Crowd, and when you leave, there's a couple of iPads out there. It just gives an overall rating on the event, helps us for next year, pick up a T-shirt. Good? Okay. Last, let's have some fun. For those of you who like to get on social media, join us. We'll have people here who will be taking pictures and getting out the news on the event on Twitter and LinkedIn. We invite you to do that too. That's the hashtag to use so that people can track what's going on here at the event. And we did this at an event in London last year. We gave away some Lego rockets. Believe it or not, that was a big deal. People got very excited about that. So we're going to track the tweets and the posts on LinkedIn, and we're going to give out those as awards to people who get on those social channels and put some posts up that are interesting and fun. So have some fun with the event. Get on your social media handles and play along with us as we go. Okay? Last, we have some great receptions. Tonight's really, really cool. We're going to have it right out there. We call it the Taste of San Francisco. We have food coming from various places around the city, different types of food, different types of cuisines. We're also going to have some beverages, and we're going to have a particular brewery company that's a friend of mine's, and he's offered to give us his beer for free. He has launched it, but he's in very, very small batch production. So you'll get to taste some really, really interesting beer from somebody who's just about to launch that. I know craft beer is popular amongst a lot of you. So please, at the reception at the end of today, please join us for some food and drink and enjoy it the end of the day today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to John Dillon, CEO of Aerospike. Good job, Brad. Go get him.
Good afternoon, and thanks for coming. Let me extend my welcome as well. I think Bill captured the sentiment when he said together. This isn't really an Aerospike conference for us, it's for you. There's a lot you can learn. You've got peers and colleagues that have gone through some of the same trailblazing adventures that you've had. They've solved heretofore intractable technical problems, and there's a lot of tremendous experience here. So make the most of the conference. I would encourage you to do that. When I opened the conference last year, I started with this somewhat infamous and controversial statement made by Nicholas Carr 16 years ago. His comment was, IT doesn't matter. Now, he did this in 2003 after this massive run-up in year 2000, Y2K, spend on ERP systems. Everybody thought planes were going to fall out of the air, bank accounts were going to get lost because everybody coded with a 2-0 date code instead of a 4-byte date code, whatever. And so there was this huge investment, and the premise was if everybody has the same stuff, there's no sustainable competitive advantage. Now, in that regard, I think he's right. If you think about it, all of you probably have a spreadsheet. All businesses we know probably have a spreadsheet. There's no competitive advantage from having a spreadsheet, but there might be a competitive advantage if you do something unique with a spreadsheet. And essentially what Nicholas Carr did say in his document is scarcity is what commutes and provides competitive advantage. In other words, if you've got something that you can do and somebody else cannot do, you have potential sustainable advantage. The opportunity to gain market share, to grow brand awareness, to grow your customer base. And those that do not share that item that's scarce will fall behind or maybe be even disintermediated. So at times of transformation, there's an opportunity, kind of a seize the day challenge. And I don't know about you, but I don't think anybody predicted 50 billion telematic devices online by 2025. 50 billion. And everybody in here, I'm sure, has a cell phone. There's going to be about 2 billion cell phones at the same time. And if you know just from your personal experience how often you touch your phone, every time a telematic device chirps, every time you touch your phone, something has to respond. It's the internet. That chirp, that bite, whatever it is, travels around the world and lands somewhere. And in the blink of an eye, the system has to decide what is the next best action. So what's happening right now is a sea change. And a sea change, if you're nautical, isn't really obvious at first. You have the tide comes in, and it's in for a while, and then it gradually starts going out. And a good mariner will notice the tide's going out, but most of us won't know until it's low tide and you can't get your ship out of the harbor. And that's essentially what's happening. And the premise that Nicholas Carr articulated was that the time to capitalize is when there's scarcity and when there's change. And that's what we have now. So with a huge opportunity ahead of us, the digital transformation, an overworked term, is something that every one of you in here is dealing with, as is every business around the world. So there's an MIT study that basically says fortune favors the bold. This is happening. If you don't take bold action, you might be left behind. And a McKinsey study points the same thing out. They did a large survey of organizations, and they found, frankly, that only 16% of the organizations were taking what they considered bold action. But if you look at the potential, about a 2.5% better top-line growth, a 2x better EBITDA, 2x better ROI, if you're an incumbent and you take bold digital action. If you're an incumbent and you don't, or if you're myopic and you deny that the world is changing relative to the amount of data, you risk being left behind. So everyone in here is an entrepreneur of some sort. You're innovators, you're blazing new trails. You are building systems that were probably inconceivable a decade ago. Powering digital transactions, digital wallets, payment gateways, powering huge systems relying on AI, re-architecting your stack to deal with the tremendous amount of data. It's crazy, all the different applications. And in our personal lives, we see the disintermediation that, say, the ride-hailing services have done to your typical taxi cab business. Or if any of you guys watched Game of Thrones and streamed it, that was something you couldn't have conceived 10 years ago. And yet, what happened to appointment TV? People are cutting the cables. We have multiple devices. We have tablets. We have smartphones. We have all sorts of items, and they're all digitally connected, and we're going to get 5G sooner or later. So it is a time for innovation, and all of you are doing that. You are in the vanguard. We are in the vanguard. It's exciting. And for us, when we started, and I wasn't there at the time, but the founders had an initial ideation, which was to build a hyperscale, next-generation database engine to power applications at scale that was sort of unthinkable, to be wireline fast, handle huge transaction loads, and to go where the future is going to be. There's a famous retired hockey player named Wayne Gretzky. He used to say, he said once in an interview, you don't skate to the puck, you skate to where it's going to be. And ladies and gentlemen, I would say we are all skating to the puck. We are building systems at scale unlike the kinds ever built before. I was a young person once, or younger than I am now, and I was on a quest at Oracle to beat a competitor called Sybase. And this is a long time ago. And I wanted to find the biggest database Oracle had in production in the Western US. And this is in about 1990. The biggest database I could find in 1990 was 10 megabytes. Sounds funny, doesn't it? Think of the stuff that you guys are doing. It's crazy. So we wanted to build a system that was hyper-scale, high-performance, wireline fast. And we wanted to provide it to power the digital real-time enterprise, sort of something that was only imagined at the time. This is almost 10 years ago. We built that, and we found our way into ad tech. Some of you are ad tech clients of ours. We really appreciate the business and appreciating you be here. You've come a long way in your journey. We started selling the product back in about 2011. And the reason we ended up in ad tech was kind of the first industry that got swamped with a tsunami of data. They had to run 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, couldn't bear any downtime, and the transaction loads were unbelievable. And real-time bidding SLAs are probably about 15 milliseconds. If you snooze, you lose. So they taught us a lot about scale, about reliability, and about performance. And we've engineered that into the technology over the years. It was a great place for us to start. Today, we have a large portfolio of companies in other industries, financial services, telco, cybersecurity, fraud, digital wallet, payment gateways, those sorts of things. But we started in ad tech. Now, what we did, based on feedback from all of you, is we've added other technologies. Strong consistency, compression, enhancements to our hybrid memory architecture, and many other things, and Srini will talk a little bit about these things. But these things now allow us to move from the edge and also supply a large petabyte scale core system that can be synchronized in real time with the edge to provide a single version of the truth, a source of information that is a system of record. Now, what you can do, and we've announced in Aerospike Connect, is we have the ability to transfer data out of this core to other systems that you have in-house or in the cloud that you're using for analytics or data communications or ingesting to Aerospike or outgesting to other applications. So we continue to work on the connectivity, and ultimately, we want to make it as easy and as painless for our technology to fit into what no doubt is a heterogeneous environment. Now, there's a couple other initiatives that we've taken. We've launched a series of client services. Tom's going to talk about that a little bit later this afternoon. And the whole point is to accelerate success, to make your onboarding easier, and provide technology transfer. We're there to help. We're packaging the services, and we believe that's part of the journey that we're all on. And finally, we are providing tooling and orchestration technologies that are going to make our technology as easy to deploy and scale as any of the proprietary cloud database systems that are available. And by the way, I'll just mention that I'll point out that we are agnostic. You can run us at Azure, you can run us at Google Compute Platform, you can run us at AWS, you can run us behind the firewall. We want to make sure that you can run us anywhere with ease and scale and success without lock-in. So this is a journey we're all on. We're on it with you. We're building it together. We want your feedback on product, on direction, on services. We really appreciate that. The fact is that if the vision was to build a hyperscale database to power the digital real-time enterprise, the mission we have is to make it as simple, easy, and affordable for companies of all sizes to deploy applications at scale similar to those built by the largest internet companies in the world. We want to be the database for you so you don't have to build one. We're doing it together. It's a journey. This is the road ahead. I love this picture, by the way. It's great. Kind of makes me want to ride a bike out there. Doesn't it? Isn't it great? But the future is really looking good. It favors the prepared, It favors the bold. And I'll make one last comment. Our success only comes from your success, and we're there to help. We're here to help. We'll do whatever it takes to make sure you get your job done. We've got your back. Thank you.